Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. All right, so we've got our two arms in place and on the shoulder bolts, and so they swing nice and accurately. What we have to do next is, and I'll get that piece of steel. We need to come in through these little holes that I drilled at 90 and 30 and 6 and 45 and set a hole in the arm itself so that we can drill it and use that as our index to index to 45 or to 30 and to 45. So we're going to get a transfer punch and see if we can get one to slide in there. We'll put you in a better position to see what's going on. Okay, there's our holes right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth one is behind that handle. Let's get out a set of transfer punches here and see if we can find one that's going to fit. Of course, it looks like it's actually too low. Dang. So we have to come up with an alternate plan. And we will do that in a minute. Okay, well, it turns out that we got a bunch of oddball transfer punches laying around, and this one, out of, all of the sizes that I could possibly have, this one fits. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut it off about right to there and put it in through the hole and then just hit it with a hammer and we'll get that nice transfer going. So we're going to take it over the saw and cut that off. All right, and there we go. Transfer punch is in place, but I don't know where 90 degrees is here, so we're going to have to come in here with a square and get this thing squared up. I've got this cute little machinist square here, and I think we're going to be able to get something going there. Just a little bit further over. That looks pretty good. Let's tighten up that bolt. See what we've got now. I think we're there. And so we're still off, but I think I can get a punch down in there and go ahead and like center punch it. All we need is just a mark. Something like that. I don't know. That's kind of a steep angle. Just going to get a little block of steel here, put it down below, and then just whack it. Keep your fingers crossed. Oh, we can't see it unless we take it completely off. Okay, I don't mind that. Looks like we got ourselves a divot right there. All right, so that's where our center point's going to be. Now what we have to do is we have to come up. What I want to do is I want this. Let's see, can you see it? Yeah. I want this to have a spring punch, you might say, with a rounded top, so that I can grab it from the back side here and pull on it and then rotate the bar and then have an index and then drop this, and the spring loads it back in, and when it gets to the hole, it just pops into the hole so that it's easy, and the guy doesn't have to really hassle with trying to make things work. So we're going to go back to the drawing board here, and we're going to come up with a little spring pin that's going to take care of that. And probably I'm going to oversize drill it and tap it and run the whole spring pin in as a tapped unit. And I'll make that separately. So hang in there with me. We're gonna have some fun with this one. Okay, today we're going to punch a hole through here and build a little spring clip that allows my user to grab it and pull it back, so that, and then index the bar down to 30 degrees or 45 degrees, and then let it go, and it'll spring back in and clip into the holes so that he gets a good, accurate location. And I'm going to rotate you around here a little bit. Let's see, there we go. And we're going to spin just a tad. Oh, what the hell, let's come in closer. And you can see I've sketched out a couple of versions of this, starting with this one here, which absolutely didn't work. Came over to this one, which was closer to what I wanted, and then finally went up to this top version, which I think is just about what I need. And so we're going to start with this old dead bolt, unless of course it's really hard steel, then we'll go find something else, but I don't think it is. And basically we're going to drill a hole through the center of this and set up our spring clip, and then come back in and thread the outside of this. Now, I could use just a regular bolt with threads, but I don't have one that the threads come all the way up to the face of the bolt head itself. So, with my little lathe, threading is not that big a deal, so we can just whip it out real fast and be happy about it. So this is the first part. The second part is going to be a much smaller bolt that's going to go through the center of this. The spring clip's going to attach to it, and then back here on the back will be a little finger, thumb screw or something like that. So let's go over to the lathe and start machining. All right, well, first thing we want to do is go ahead and drill a hole in the center, drill a center hole in the end here, so we can get the bolt out here in the open air and put the center on the back side of it. So that's a pretty simple deal. Okay, that gets us pretty much where we want to go. Now we just open it up, bring our bolt head out here, trade our center, or our drill head, for the center. And where's our center? Right here. Can you see all of that? Most of it. Snug that down. Let's tighten this up. And we've got something close to what we want. Now, we're going to cut this off probably right about here. So I'm not really worried about anything out there. It's just to kind of hold it in place. And for the moment, let's see, maybe we come in and do it the opposite way first. Yeah, I think that's probably a better idea. We're going to come in and drill the center out all the way back to about here. Then we'll come in, flip it around, and do all our machine work and the threading and everything that's necessary there. Okay, so back to drill bit, and we're back to center. All right. And we don't need to go all the way in. All we're trying to do is come up with a usable center hole. Take our center drill out. And let's come up with maybe a 1/4 inch. All right, a little bit bigger than a 1/4 inch. And we'll run that in all the way up to the hilt. And let's get a little bit of oil on it. All right, so we come up with a spring. We're probably going to cut that in half, but that'll give us enough spring action to snap that keeper into place. Going down the center of the spring is a 1/4 inch drill bit. That's pretty good. And we're going to go right down the center of this bolt with this 1/4 inch drill bit up to the hilt, as we were looking to do with the larger bit. All right, now that we have the hole drilled, we can come in. I don't need that much nut. All I need is just a little bit in order to tighten it onto the shaft or onto the bar. So I'm going to take off probably half or maybe even 3/4 of this nut or this bolt head. All right, so we're going to get just a little bit fancy here, and I'm going to just put a slight taper on that head because it will show, and it always, from my point of view, it always looks better to have it tapered. That should do the trick. Okay. Now, we take our bolt back out. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, looks pretty good. And we'll come back in and file that part later. Now we put the bolt in backwards. Like. Yeah, looks pretty good. It's off a bit, but I think that's just the nature of the bolt. Let's see if we can bring this down to something we can use. And we're probably looking at about right there. Okay, let's face off the inside of that bolt head. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah. So now we need to measure the shaft, and we need to come down to something that's standard, because I'm going to want to run a tap through the hole. And we are now at 700, so 6, 7 something. We'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're sitting at 710, and we need to go to 700. Okay, so we found ourselves a bit that will come in at an angle and catch as much of that thread as possible. The problem is that it's not quite square up with what we need, and you can see that you can see we got just a little bit of a rocking motion here, and so we're going to come in. This is a nice straight edge here, so we'll go with that, and then we're just going to come in and clean up that edge there. So let's crank it up. Okay, let's see what this looks like. We're going to bring that in. I'm just going to kind of guess for squareness, but you can see that where I reduced it back there is going to miss the bolt head by just a little bit, and that's going to be just about the right amount. Now we're going to come in and put a washer behind this, so that'll take up the space for where we don't land with the threads. I think that's going to work perfect. So bring our little fishtail in. And it looks like we still got to come a little further, maybe even just a tad further. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to come in for just a little test run. Oops, that's more than a test run. Just so it just is touching. There it is right there. We'll take our first swipe, kick it into gear on number 4, ready, go. And kick it out of gear. Right there. Bring it back a little bit. Back to there. Back to 0. And let's test our threads. Right at 11 threads per inch. Put some oil on this. And okay, so we finished threading. We've cut ourselves to length, and now what I'm going to do is take this mill bit and run it down the center of this hole, so that we can create a bottom for the spring. And let's see what we can do with that. Well, that's not going to exactly work, at least not that bit, because it's reaching too far. It's got a double bit on it, one on each side. I was hoping it would do it, but it doesn't reach far enough to grab it. So we'll just go find another one, and we'll be right back. Right, let's give this bit a try. It's a little bit bigger than the other one, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Yeah, beautiful. And I think we're pretty even there. Let's pull it apart and see what we've got. Do we have anything else to do here? I don't think so. Yeah, we've got a nice little flat shoulder back in there. The spring will fit right in there. Of course, we're going to cut some of the spring off, and that'll give us the pushback that we need. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. So that's a good start. Well, good morning. Nick Collier here, and today we're going to maybe finalize this project. Probably not. I mean, you know, there's still a few steps left to do. But this next step, and I'm going to bring you in closer and we'll show you what's going on. So remember yesterday, well, in the last couple of days, we made the nut and then the little plunger that goes through the nut and all of that. Now, today we actually have to drill the hole in the bar so that the nut can go in. And so what we want to do is come in and locate this little index mark that we made using the transfer punch, and we'll drill a hole, a little pilot hole, and then we'll come back and drill a prep hole to thread a 5/8, I believe it's a 5/8, might be 11/16 thread into the hole so that the nut can screw back into that, and we can kind of start working with that. So we're going to be right back because I'm noticing the battery's about ready to go dead. So we put our little pointer in, and there's our mark. So all we need to do is come over to it. And let's loosen our gibs so we can move. There we go. And I'm going to come in kind of close here because I don't have any eyes left and I need my cheater glasses to do this. That looks pretty good. I think that's right on. Oops, no. Right on the money. All right, so we'll loosen that up. And we'll start with a little pilot, excuse me, pilot drill. And let's speed this up a little bit. There we go. A little bit of oil. And let's punch this baby. Just way too easy. Used as a drill, this mill is an amazing thing. All right, so let's drill our tap size. I think we need to slow this thing down a little bit. Then we're going to use the old trick of running the tap in until it starts slipping. And we need to get some cutting fluid. There we go. That gives us a good start. Back up the head and put a wrench on that, and I think we've got something. Oh, that's not enough wrench. Okay, let's get the big honking one out. And in fact, we can take this thing out and put it horizontal, which would be a lot easier to deal with. So we'll be back in a sec. Okay, so we're going to use the big old honking tap wrench just because it's easier to deal with. And as long as I'm careful and not break the tap inside of the hole, I think we're in good shape. All right, let's screw our nut in. There it goes. Yeah, nice. Okay, we rounded off our edges nice and smooth. Nobody's going to get cut. Tighten this thing down. Okay, so for right now, this is just a little temporary test to see if this is going to work. We're going to tighten down our bolt. Till we get everything snug. That looks pretty good. And we pull this, and it looks like we're just a bit long. Not bad though. I mean, just a bit. And let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's loosen this. How long are we? No, we are not very long.